Hey everybody, how's it going? It's a Daily Shooter, and every once in a great while, and just for a split second, my mind will wonder if California politicians have broken the Second Amendment so badly in that state that maybe the people of the state of California will actually have a small lull, just a small void where they won't have to worry about the next form of gun control that's going to come down from their government. And then obviously I snap out of it real quick and read some of the headlines and realize that gun control in California is never going to end. It's never going to stop until basically they get exactly what they want, which is a repeal of the Second Amendment altogether. Until California citizens are no longer to either acquire or own firearms, they're just going to continue to push gun control down your throats. Now, here's the new one, or it's not even a new one, really. What they're trying to do now is they're actually trying to revive something that they tried already in the past, and that is an excise tax on firearms and ammunition. Now, I've actually made a video about this specific topic in the past. They wanted a firearms excise tax in the past so they could fund Cal VIP. And in that firearm excise tax, what they were going to do is they were going to essentially levy a tax against firearm retailers and FFLs so that they would be able to fund their pet projects and essentially programs that could even be used to further restrict your Second Amendment rights. They wanted you to be the person to pay for that. Well, obviously, we know that if they're going to be taxing the retailer isn't going to eat up that cost because margins are already low for firearms retailers. They're going to go ahead and they're going to pass on that tax to you. You're going to be the one to pay for it, and you're going to pay that as an addition to your firearm purchase and the taxes that already exist. So this is going to be a tax basically upon a tax upon a tax. And all that money is going to go to fund these special pet programs, again, like Cal VIP, which is the California Violence Intervention Program. Well, now they've gone ahead and they've revived it. It is back in committee now, and this is going to be for the 2019-2020 legislative session. So basically what you're looking at now is they want to revive that tax. It's going to be a $25 tax from what I can tell on every single purchase, but now they're adding ammunition. So they want to add a tax on ammunition as well as a tax on firearms, so that anytime you make a purchase, you're essentially going to be, again, funding these programs like the California Violence Intervention Program and other programs where they're going to be basically taking these funds and distributing them amongst other research and study groups. So different college groups who might be researching some type of gun violence prevention program or something like that, you're going to be basically paying their checks. You're going to be paying these groups to do the work on the government's behalf to try and force more gun control down your throat. So you're going to be, in your own way, funding gun control, which is just absolutely insane to me. But it's back. Once again, going through committee. They want to put a tax on firearms. They want to put a tax on ammunition. They want to call it an excise tax. And this is something they're trying to force, down Californians' throats again. It is absolutely unbelievable. We've all heard the term, don't let a good tragedy go to waste. And that's exactly what they're doing. They're trying to use the latest tragedy as fuel to help get this through this time. So instead of in the past where it's failed, now they're hoping that with the latest round of tragedies, they can go ahead and they can push it and force it upon the population of the state. Now, the Firearms Policy Coalition, just like they did in the past, is going to continue to fight AB 18 to make sure that this doesn't go through. It is completely unconstitutional, and what it really does is it puts a burden on the Second Amendment to those people who are already strapped, those people who are poor, those people who are low income, those people who can only afford that $150 gun. People who one box a month of ammunition in order just to train or even protect themselves is already something that's difficult for them, and then when you add another tax on the ammunition and you add another tax on the firearm, it might take that completely out of their reach and in its own way kind of prevent them from practicing their Second Amendment rights. So you gotta figure that people who have a ton of money and these rich people and elitist politicians, they have plenty of money. If they want firearms and ammunition, they'll just go get it. A tax doesn't really burden them at all. But for those people that are less fortunate than most of us, those people that are less fortunate just basically lack a way to protect themselves now because of these taxes. So really what they're doing is they're banning the Second Amendment for people that are less fortunate. Now, even though that's terrible, it's on a state level. They want to impose an excise tax on anybody that wants to practice the Second Amendment. And their Second Amendment rights are supposed to be a right, and you cannot tax a right. So already we're starting off, you know, with another horrible idea from California politicians. But what about on the more local level, or even the hyper local level? You have cities like San Jose, and I want to thank Chris from Facebook very much for sending me this video so I could research a little bit more about it. But you have places like San Jose which are exploring ideas like making it mandatory that anybody who own or purchase a firearm in the city of San Jose be required to carry some type of liability insurance. Now, it's not that they just want them to have liability insurance, and I looked into this a little bit further, but insurance companies have the power to regulate their policyholders. So if you have to have insurance, and you know that, let's say that that's the law, or else you're a felon or whatever, you commit a misdemeanor, in which case they could take away your firearms. If the insurance company mandates that in order for you to be covered, you have to always keep your firearm locked up with a separate lock on it, and the ammunition kept separate so that you can't defend yourself, which goes clearly against Heller in the Supreme Court decision. Still, the insurance companies could then mandate that if you want to be covered under their policy, that's how you have to store your firearms, then they could do that. And if you want to be able to keep your policy so you don't become a criminal in San Jose, you see how this is kind of jumping down a really bad black hole. So they want to impose insurance on people, or have people carry that mandatory insurance, but at the same time basically transferring their fight against the Second Amendment to the insurance companies, who can impose their own rules and regulations on firearm owners within their city limits. So in California, it's just always bad news. You got the state level, you have the local level, and everybody is just fighting to take as much of your freedom away as possible. So I know there's still plenty of patriots there. I know there are plenty of people there who believe in what America is all about: freedom, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. And I know that you guys, even though you're completely outnumbered, you still have a very large voice. So make sure that you make that voice heard. It's got to happen at the ballot box, and it's got to happen in the groups that are fighting for you. You know, donate to whatever group you feel is going to do the best job for you. The Firearms Policy Coalition has always been a great one, and that's why I stood behind them, and I was a member long before they ever supported this channel. I made videos pushing the Firearms Policy Coalition for years, and so it's definitely one of the groups that I support the most. Nonetheless, go ahead and make your donations when you can to the people who can actually fight this stuff for us, because it's absolutely ridiculous. 43 years I was in California. I know exactly what's going on there, and it has to stop. Anyway, thank you all very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Make sure you guys stay on top of this. AB 18 has to be stopped now. Please like, subscribe. Have a great day.